time is 1 o'clock from Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. I'm Ronke Giwa Onafuwa. First, the news headlines. INEC announces date to begin e-registration for continuous voter registration. Governor Seyi Makinde accuses opposition of politicizing insecurity in Oyo State. On the foreign scene, WHO says COVID-19 vaccines running out in poorer countries. And Court of Arbitration for Sports cuts Samson Siasia's life ban to 5 years. Those are the headlines. Now the news in detail. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has announced the introduction of a portal to enable eligible Nigerians to register as voters online before completing the exercise physically at designated centers nationwide. The portal was designed by INEC engineers and produced overseas. The Commission is projecting to register 20 million new voters before the end of the continuous voter registration. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu said this was the first time voter registration was being handled partially online.
The expansion of voters' access to polling units prepares the ground for the discharge of another important responsibility of the Commission. The registration of eligible Nigerians as voters is one of the immediate tasks before the Commission. Consequently, in the next 1 week, that is from Monday, the 28th of June 2021, the Commission will resume the continuous voter registration nationwide. In doing so, the Commission is introducing a portal to enable eligible Nigerians to commence registration as voters online before completing the exercise physically at designated centers nationwide. We intend to undertake the CVR exercise over a period of at least 1 year. Just like the expansion of voter access to polling units, the Commission appeals to the media for support so that this novel idea will also be successful. The CVR, that's the continuous voter registration, will be a major issue for discussion at this meeting.
The Lagos State House of Assembly yesterday reviewed and amended a portion of the law creating the state's Independent Electoral Commission, LASIG. The Assembly amended the law by creating a subsection for Section 2 of the law. The newly added subsection 5 gives the governor the power to extend the tenure of the commission based on exigencies. The Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa, said that the amendment became expedient to ensure that the process leading to effective conclusion of council election in the state is not hampered as a result of the soon-to-end tenure of members of LASIG. He directed the Clerk of the House, Mr. Olalekan Onofeko, to pass the copy to the governor for assent. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, is confident that Nigeria will remain united as a strong nation to the frustration of those waiting to see the country broken into pieces. He made the remark in Abuja at the meeting edition of the All Progressives Congress Progressives Youth Conference. The Vice President acknowledged the need for all Nigerians to be guaranteed a fair chance at improving their human condition and urged the youth to be a part of conversations that will ensure this.
Don't just say it is time for the youth. Don't just say it's time for the youth and older people must just give way. It's unlikely that that will happen. It is the strength of your ideas and the depth of your organization that will retire those ahead of you, not your age. And I'm also, frankly, not very impressed with the notion that the role and power of young people is somehow postponed until elders have gone, or that there is some kind of generational queue to which we all must subscribe. Even if that was true at some point, that we must all be on some kind of queue. Today, that notion stands on very weak legs indeed. In the era of disruption and disruptive innovation, the principle that we are stronger together than in little parts is a sound principle. And it's my respectful view that those who advocate the breaking up of the country are terribly wrong.
The Niger state government has raised a special security squad to ensure the safe return of the pupils abducted on May 30th from Islamic school, the Tajina Islamiyah School. A statement by Governor Abubakar Sani Bello's Chief Press Secretary Mary Barje said the outfit was unveiled in Mina, the state capital. At the inauguration, the governor said the time had come for the state government to take decisive action once and for all to end banditry in the state. The statement said the squad, made up of combined security personnel, was immediately deployed in Arafi local government area. The pupil's abduction was confirmed by the police and some residents of Tijina, the Rafi local government area of the state. Now, Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde yesterday accused the opposition in the state of politicizing insecurity and rubbishing the security architecture to gain prominence. Governor Makinde stated this during the inauguration of Oyo State Security Network Agency and Amotekun Corps Governing Board at the Executive Council Chamber of the Governor's Office, Secretariat Agodi Ibadan, the state capital. The governor maintained that security is a collective responsibility, not just for the government or governor alone, adding that everybody needs to come on board and partake. The governor, who bemoaned the security challenges in the country, said one of the reasons for the establishment of the Amotekun Corps was to bring security operatives closer to the people. Governor Makinde therefore vowed to continue to take the issue of security of life and property and people being able to go about their lawful endeavors in Oyo State seriously. Now, the federal government has announced the development of a national humanitarian development peace framework. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadiya Farouk, disclosed this at a virtual briefing to the United Nations member states on the humanitarian situation in Nigeria. She explained that the National Humanitarian Coordination Technical Working Group, as directed by the National Humanitarian Coordination Committee, NHCC, came up with the initiative aimed at restoring peace and stability in Nigeria. The soon-to-be launched framework is geared towards making humanitarian interventions in Nigeria timely, effective and coordinated between the government as well as humanitarian and security agencies. You're still listening to the news on Splash 105.5 FM. Now turning to the foreign scene. The World Health Organization has said a large number of poorer countries receiving COVID-19 vaccines through a global sharing scheme do not have enough doses to continue programs. WHO Senior Advisor Dr. Bruce Aylward said the COVAX program had delivered 90 million doses to 131 countries. But he said this was nowhere near enough to protect populations from a virus still spreading worldwide. The shortages come as some nations in Africa see a third wave of infections. Ivory Coast former President Laurent Gbagbo has filed for divorce from his wife of 3 decades, days after his highly anticipated return to the country. Gbagbo's lawyer, Claude Montinon, said in a statement that after years of repeated rejected requests for Simone Ehivit to consent to an amicable separation, the ex-president had asked an Abidjan court for a divorce. The announcement comes 4 days after Gbagbo returned to Ivory Coast following a decade's absence, during which he was tried for crimes against humanity during the post-election conflict of 2010 to 2011. Simone Gbagbo wielded significant political influence as First Lady and was arrested alongside her husband in April 2011 after he refused to concede defeat, sparking a conflict that left some 3,000 people dead. Finally, in sports news, the life ban imposed on former Super Eagles coach Samson Siasia has been reduced to 5 years by the Court of Arbitration for Sports, CAS, while a fine of $54,000 was overturned as inappropriate and excessive. The 53-year-old former Super Eagles star was initially sanctioned on August 2019 by FIFA for agreeing to receive bribes in relation to the manipulation of matches, but he appealed against the ban by the football's governing body, denying the charges. But CAS, in his decision yesterday, said a life ban for Siasia was disproportionate for a passive offence that did not fetch him any money. In a statement released by CAS, the decision to reduce the life ban to 5 years followed the appeal filed by Siasia over the decision of FIFA on April 11th to ban the coach for life over his involvement in bribery for fixing a match in 2010. Now, Olympics organizers said up to 10,000 domestic spectators will be allowed in Tokyo 2020 venues, a decision that cuts against the recommendation of medical experts who said holding the event without fans was the least risky option. The announcement ends months of speculation and highlights Japan's determination to push on with the games and salvage the multi-billion-dollar extravaganza amid public opposition and deep concern about a resurgence in infections. Organizers said in a statement the limit for the games, scheduled to begin on July 23rd, will be set at 50% of venue capacity, up to a maximum of 10,000 people. The organizers also said masks would be required and spectators be requested to travel directly to venues and go straight home. All right, just before we go, a recap of the headlines. INEC has announced date to begin e-registration for continuous voter registration. Governor Seyi Makinde has accused opposition of politicizing insecurity in Oyo State. WHO has said COVID-19 vaccines running out in poorer countries. And Court of Arbitration for Sport has cut Samson Siasia's life ban to 5 years. For more details on the news, visit our website on www.splashfm1055.com. Now, you can download the Splash FM mobile app on iOS, BlackBerry World, and Google Play Store to listen live, get news update, opinion poll, and also report an event live to us through the iReport feature. To download, simply go to any of the stores mentioned and search for Splash FM 105.5, then click to download. We have now come to the end of the news on Splash 105.5 FM, the integrity station and the best radio station in the southwest of the country. The news editor is Tunde Olawuwo, assisted by Chinwe Churchill. I'm Ronke Giwa Onafuwa. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.
Quick, Charger 240.
Hot news, cool vibes, sports, and more on the Integrity Station. We educate, that's why we are respected. We inform, that's why we are loved. More music, we are the best. The Integrity Station. Splash, splash.
105.5.
We've got the city on lockdown. Got my own city that I hold down. We are Splash 105.5. Splash 105.5.
I'll be fast on my colleague.
Tune in and listen everywhere you go.
Oh, wow.
Your station. Here is
105.5.
From the very beginning, we just saw the world differently than everyone else. This was made obvious in all we do.
That didn't sit well with some people.
What's our plan?
Our plan is to keep going up and not just go up, but stay at the very top. We are your favorite radio station, Splash 105.5 FM.
If it's up, then it's stuck. If it's up, then it's up, then it's up.
105.5, The Splash.
Melanin Marama.
Master.
Melanin Marama.